Olha, sobre o documentário ainda sobre a Cuidado com os Anjos, tem dois personagens que pediram para ele falar um pouco sobre eles. Um é o Mark Clemson, e o outro era, não deram o nome, mas era um outro personagem que tinha contato com alienígenas. Pra ele contar um pouquinho sobre os dois.
Mark's father and grandfather were both Freemasons. At an early age, Mark learned Eastern Hindu meditation and experienced the addictive power of mysticism.
Around the age of 10 is when I first had my encounter with a spiritual being that had presented itself after I'd gone into a deep trance. I could pierce that veil and see these spiritual beings that I thought were dead ancestors who have passed on and now have received these bodies because they are now Mahatma. They're enlightened descended masters. Piercing the veil was like a drug unto itself because there were all these augmentations that come off of it, of the out-of-body experience, the ability to move objects, the ability to levitate. These are things that you are awed by, that you are actually outside of the known laws of the physical realm. And so you must be dealing in a spiritual sense. And so you believe you have these gifts, and each one of them requires that you're invoking some type of power which intrinsically you think it's yours. It goes back, thousands of years into the teaching of the Tao and into the understanding of the power of the yin-yang and the positive and the negative forces, that you can take hold of those things in your life. You can manage those things in your life as long as you let them be a part of your life. Catholicism was a foundation as an early child as well. We attended Mass, I attended catechism, but there was more of an idea that it was kind of a affront to the real spiritual nature of what you can tap into as you become God. My grandfather, years ago, who I never met because he died before I was born, was a member of what is called the White Lodge of Freemasonry. And understanding that compared to what we have here in North America, which are the Blue Lodges. In the Blue Lodge, it's just a portion of the spectrum of the White Lodge. So in the White Lodge, they were given full view of the things that were available to them. My grandfather's apron of wisdom, with the Masonic apron of wisdom, was presented to me to take if I had wanted it to join a lodge. The clasp of the apron was the serpent eating the tail. The idea that reincarnation takes place in the life of an adept. So you keep coming back until the point where you've reached a Mahatma level, and you don't have to then come back into a physical presence, but you can come back as an esoteric being.
And the candidate rises, reborn as a master mason.
It is to teach the Mason the importance of the immortality of the soul.
Mark rejected his grandfather's Masonic apron after becoming a Protestant Christian. He came to believe that Christianity was totally incompatible with secret societies. Through his early career, Mark's circle of associates included Freemasons in big business and government, some involved in drugs and sex trafficking. Though he was never an initiated Mason, Mark knew too much. In his quest to find spiritual meaning, Adam studied Buddhism and occult teachings of Aleister Crowley, the controversial Bishop James Pike, and a religion called Eckankar. Crowley defined magic and mysticism as communication with beings who exist on a higher plane than ours. In 1904, a supposed disembodied spirit dictated messages to Crowley, which he wrote down and later titled The Book of the Law, which declare, "Do what thou wilt." Episcopalian Bishop James Pike also communicated with spirits of the dead. After his son committed suicide, Pike participated in a televised seance to contact his son through the medium Arthur Ford. He later published a book about these paranormal experiences titled The Other Side.
Where will eternity find you? When I die, I will be just the Jim Pike I am now. I think living on and on with the hang-ups that I have and barriers and blocks continue to be worked on through encounters.
Adam became a member of Ekankar, which teaches that God speaks to his immortal creation through sound and light. And by chanting to Hu, which they call the Holy Spirit, the mind invokes these sensory experiences. Hu is not the biblical Holy Spirit, but an ancient Egyptian sun god.
At lower levels, this light and sound will manifest and come into a matrix, sometimes as a master, sometimes as an angel. Learn to go inside yourself, because this is the source of all truth, because soul is the eternal part of this body sitting here.
I did join that church and participated in their practices, and I did have a lot of lucid dreams that I took my cues from.
Adam later embraced his lifelong fascination with aliens.
And I was very awake, although I was still asleep, and there was someone standing in front of me, an intelligent being. And so I started plying him with questions, the nature of reality, and he gave me some very philosophical answers. One thing I asked him, I says, "Do I know anybody from your realm?" He said, "Yes, there's one." And he gave me her name. She became my twin flame, my soul mate. And I think the draw, the appeal as it was for me, is that, well, at least I've got one person who knows me through and through. They're there 24/7. They show me attention. Sometimes it's very negative attention. So many different ways of trying to entice me to take my life so I could rejoin her on the other side.
One day, Adam was impressed to visit a particular bar. There he played pool with a mysterious man. Later, they walked outside.
And he just asked me point blank, he says, "What do you want?" I says, "I want to know the secret." He says, "Who do you serve?" I says, "No one." He says, "No, everybody serves somebody. Who's it going to be?" I says, "Myself." He says, "So be it."
The man gave Adam a spiritual name, then drove him to a large parking lot where he told Adam to look for a certain car with the keys in it.
I get in, I start driving, and I'm thinking, man, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Who was that guy? And right about that time, I passed a temporary electronic road sign that said, "There is no legal limit." I brought it up to 90. Right about that time, a double helix I see turning out just outside the windshield. It's made of shadow and light. And I'm thinking, yeah, DNA, small particles, surely I can apply my mind to change my DNA and overcome death. I can live forever.
Just off the freeway, Adam stopped by an emergency room. He felt strongly that he might find a clue about his life path there. As he sat in the waiting area, paramedics wheeled a man in, and a young woman, following behind, came and sat next to Adam. She said her boyfriend had been communicating with aliens and had attempted suicide in order to join them. When Adam didn't take his life, the so-called aliens weren't so friendly anymore.
Okay, they're asking you to, even about, be aware of angels. Two people that were in the book, Mark Clemenson, é isso, Will? É.
Yes.
Mark Clemenson and another one that had apparently contacted with aliens, UFOs.
Yeah. Adam, his name is Adam, the one who was involved with aliens, and Mark Clemenson, who was raised in a Freemasonry family, a family of Freemasons.
Sim, o Mark Clemenson foi criado numa família maçônica e o nome do rapaz que teve contato com alienígenas se chamava Adão, em português.
Yeah, the emphasis, once again, in this film was to try and show the thread that ties all of them together.
E o objetivo principal nesse filme foi justamente pegar todas essas histórias isoladas e uni-las em um laço para formar um contexto geral.
You hear a lot of information about Freemasonry in other programs.
Você vê muitas informações sobre maçonaria em outros programas.
But in our program, I wanted to be very focused on
Mas o nosso programa,
on this ultimate deception.
Mas no nosso programa, quando a gente aborda a questão de maçonaria, eu quis focar muito justamente nesse tema que é enganos, né? Que no caso é espiritismo.
So Mark Clemenson, as a child, learned how to have out-of-body experiences with altered states of consciousness.
Então, o Mark Clemenson, ele tinha experiências e aprendido a ter experiências transcendentais, no caso que a alma sai do corpo.
He actually believed that he was leaving his body and going places and meeting his dead ancestors in the afterlife.
Ele realmente acreditava que ele estava saindo do corpo dele e entrando em outra dimensão e se comunicando com as pessoas mortas.
And the teachings of Freemasonry, at their essence, at their very foundation, are teaching the immortality of the soul.
E a fundação de todo esse ensino é justamente a pregação da imortalidade da alma, que foi o primeiro grande engano, né? Certamente não morrerás.
Mark even learned about the Chinese yin and yang, the dark and the light. He learned all kinds of things before he became a Christian.
Inclusive, ele aprendeu sobre muitas coisas do ocultismo, como, por exemplo, o yin e yang chinês, o que ele simboliza? Que todo bem tem mal e todo mal tem bem. É por isso que as bolinhas têm aquela troca de cor.
It's the idea that you can live in both realms of light and dark, that you must have evil in order for good to exist.
Que é justamente o que eu acabei de falar aqui. Você precisa do mal para o bem existir e o mal precisa do bem para ele existir. E que você consegue ficar transcendendo nessa dualidade de existência.
But in the end, whether it's Eastern or whether it's Western in Freemasonry, or if it's alien-based, like they were asking about the other story that we show.
Yeah,
it's the guy that his name is Adam Hendron. Adam also believed in the dual nature of man, where he would have dreams, he would have visions, and these aliens were coming and seeing him in his dreams, and he believed that if he took his life, he could join them. There were apparently a kind of a popular thing of committing suicide so you could join the aliens in the afterlife.
Então, de qualquer forma, em qualquer uma das pregações de misticismo, seja na oriental ou seja na ocidental, ou até mesmo com base de alienígenas, né, com Adam Hendron, que teve experiência com esse negócio alienígena, e coisas engraçadas eram faladas, como os aliens falavam, você tem que morrer para poder se juntar a nós, ou seja, uma tentativa de fazê-lo cometer suicídio para fazer parte dessa nova existência, desse estilo de existência superior.